Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sports View. I'm Ron Cameron, and I'd like to welcome on the show a new co-host to Sports View today. They know you by sight, don't you?
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to be here.
We got a nice opening show, your first show on the air.
We sure do. We've got Jack McCloskey here, the general manager of the Pistons, and I think it's going to be a terrific half hour.
A heck of a half hour. We'll talk some more sports in just a moment. I'll give the advertisers. The Sting, the hot new nightclub. Well, it's not new anymore, though. It's been around for a couple of years. You got to stop by on James Cousins at Greenfield. A new family, not a new family restaurant. Welcome to Sports View Seabreeze Restaurant, one of the finest family restaurants in Metro Detroit. Located on Gratiot South, the 14-mile of Roseville. You got to take the family. It's a great food over there. Binary computers for all your computer needs on Woodward at 12 miles. See John Waters, and he'll give you more than a good deal. Then we have Sports Fans Journal, hottest magazine going, and you got to subscribe. We're 92 pages now, and we've added writers to the staff. I think you're really big feature on Jimmy Devellano. Dan Enos, the quarterback of Michigan State, writes a guest column. All you have to do to subscribe is call 751-1818, 24 hours a day. And last is Al Dreecher Oldsmobile, where you get a good deal and a good deal more on M59 in Waterford, where the runway ends, the deals begin. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, first of all, you trying to turn that magazine into a Hemingway novel, or how many pages are you going to take?
92. We remember, well, this is my fourth year now. 3 years ago we started this magazine. It was 24-page newspaper, and then went to tabloid, now four-color magazine. It's come a long way.
It's come a long way.
And you've been with me since, I think, day one.
Almost since day one.
I think the second or third issue you started writing.
Let's talk about Rodney Peete. What is the big deal they're making on a Rodney Peete? And with all due respect, I'm not sure if Rodney is a franchise player.
Well, sixth round will tell you he's not a franchise player.
Well, there's a lot of fifth and sixth round players that have become great players.
Yeah, but not quarterbacks
NFL.
starting the first year. It's never been done in the history of this league or in the modern day football where quarterbacks come out and started as a rookie and done that well. The only one being Dan Marino, but Dan Marino was with a good team. He was with the Miami team. This team stinks.
Any question that Hipple's now going to be the quarterback?
I think you're more mobile than Hipple at this stage. He's taken, that's no criticism of Hipple, because he's taken more shots because he's been with his team, and he's a gutty performer, and I really like Eric, and I'm glad he's going to get the chance to be starting quarterback, but you know, he's, because of his injuries, has lost a step, and he was not a gazelle to begin with.
I still believe the Lions are going to surprise some ball clubs this year. I'm not saying they're going to be the NFL championship ball
What are you
club.
trying to say, Denny?
No, I really believe that I like Wayne Fontes. I think he does a hell of a job. And I just believe that somehow, some way, he's going to do what's right, and they're going to come up and they're going to beat some good ball clubs. I'm not even going to say they're going to, 500, but I'm suggesting to you that they're going to beat some ball clubs this year. They're going to surprise some people. If nothing else, the ball club is going to be a lot more exciting than it's been in a long time.
It's got to be more exciting. It's been a long time, but as far as winning, they may not win a game.
Oh, no.
Denny, watch and see, this team stinks.
Excuse me. They played Tampa Bay twice.
Yeah, Tampa's improved a little bit. And they got Testaverde.
Tampa Bay, believe me, Tampa Bay has not improved enough to make a difference.
I think that Vinny Testaverde's finally found out the difference between red, green, and blue. He's cured as far as not cured because of the he's colorblind, of course, and that's affected him. But that still hasn't got the Lions will finish in last place.
Lions will finish in last place, but I'm telling you, they're going to surprise a bunch of ball clubs. They're going to be more exciting than the Tigers have been this year.
That's not saying a hell of a lot either.
Well,
Tigers are on a roll now.
They're on a roll now. They've won 4 ball games finally. That's 4 this month.
Now Fred Lynn, who's trying to get a contract for next year, is starting to hit home runs. What they got him for, he should have been doing April, May, June, and July, and August.
Well, Jim Campbell said something I thought that was inappropriate. They said that they would not go out and sign a lot of money guys. They're not going to go out in the free agency market. I think that's wrong. I think they have to be competitive. The nature of the game is to be competitive, not only on the field, but away from the field. And you're not going to get any talented guys unless you go out and spend some money. And there's going to be a lot of guys available this year. But what they need to do is they need to clean house with some of the guys they do have, the 37 and 38 and 39-year-old guys, and they need to move on to the future because they're talking about these AA prospects.
That's good in 2 years.
But in AA they're suspects. You know, they're still suspects. And it takes some time to develop those kids.
And they have nothing in AAA.
Nothing in AAA at all. Nothing. And they don't have anybody in the minor leagues developing anybody. The Tigers have really gotten away from development within the minor leagues, and I think they got to go back to the basics that they had in the middle, late 60s. They really knew how to develop
I hate free
talent.
agency, but they're going to have to. They got to get some power. This is a home run paradise, as you know. They don't have anybody hit the ball to the ballpark.
Well, let's get back to Jack McCloskey. Let's get him up here and talk to him.
Yeah, I guess there's not a whole lot more we can talk about except that.
Give you a prediction. Billy Martin's going to manage the Yankees next year.
Wasn't that pitiful?
Maybe not opening day,
Isn't that
but
pitiful?
sometime. No, it's not. No, I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
this is his 6th trip with the Yankees. Denny.
So he's got a salary there. They got to use him someplace.
Use
he's a
him to
good
go to the
guy.
bars and hammer it down.
No. He's a good man.
Is he on the booze?
Terrific
still?
guy.
Well, that's a dumb question to ask.
I don't know if he's on the booze. I don't think it makes any difference. When he is on the playing field, I think he is the best the game has ever seen.
He used to be good. He's lost it, I think, a little mentally.
I still believe
he's not as mentally together as he used to be.
Anybody who's got that much ability will never, ever lose that kind of ability. And Billy will get the most out of that ball club. It would have been a lot more competitive had Billy stepped in sometime earlier this year. Billy's great with pitchers, terrific with pitchers. He knows how far a guy can go.
And then when he leaves, the pitcher goes because he burns his arm out.
Well, Steinbrenner doesn't care.
If you'd have worked for Billy Martin, you'd have lasted 2 years. How long did you last in the big leagues?
Oh, almost 9 years.
9 years. You'd have been there 2 years if you'd have lasted with Billy.
I like Billy. I think Billy.
You never pitched for him.
He's my kind of manager. He's very competitive. He wants to win. He wins at all costs. And I'm not sure if there's a lot of guys that would say that Billy abused them.
He turned more pitchers into Bud Lynches with no right arms. Their arms almost fell off.
I'm not sure if that's true, but we've got a manager here in Detroit. Sparky, of course, has never been great with young pitchers, and I would predict that that's the reason we've had a lot of arm trouble in the city of Detroit, and we don't get a lot of complete games from any staff here since Sparky's come on either. And that's indicative of what he did. Historically, that's what he did in Cincinnati too. And that's not to criticize Sparky. That's just the way he manages. Yeah. He uses a lot of pitchers. He wants a lot of young arms. And unfortunately, if you go through that many arms, you're going to abuse some. And that is what we have at this point.
Okay, let's go to Jack McCloskey then. All right.
Jack will be here in a moment.
Okay.
Generation of Oldsmobiles.
And I'll Dietrich Olds GMC trucks.
Choose from a great selection of Oldsmobiles,
including Cutlass Supreme and the restyled Cutlass CL.
Or hundreds of GMC trucks in stock.
Complete with an Uncle Al price that can't be beat.
For sales or service.
Let Uncle Al come through for you.
This is the new generation of
East of the Pontiac Airport.
On M59 in Waterford.
If you're a sports fan, you should subscribe to this, Sports Fans Journal, and here's how. Our columnists include Ernie Harwell, George Kell, Denny McLain, Don Cherry, Jimmy Carson, Dick Vitale, George Blaha, Bob Feller, George Allen, and much more, including our new columnist, Piston. We're back on Sports View. The general manager of the Pistons, Jack McCloskey, is here. Taking a little criticism on your latest move of John Concac. We'll start off by talking about that. I know you've been asked that until you're blue in the face on it. Although you got a nice tan, you're not really blue in the face.
Why would you criticize getting a player of Concac's ability?
No, not at all, except the fact that the money-wise. Isn't the salary...
What difference does it make money-wise? We're getting a player. We wanted to get a player
yes, you did.
With exceptional talent. Why should you or anybody else worry about
I'll tell you why.
The money we spend?
I'll tell you why.
Because people criticize other teams in this area for not keeping players or not getting players.
Yeah. But the thing is, the salary structure is going out of line, it seems like, in the NBA, isn't it, Jack?
No, because the teams are making money and the players should receive adequate compensation.
And you're within your cap, the NBA caps. I mean, the Pistons are aggressive. They're aggressive on the court.
Agreed.
And they're aggressive off the court. There's nothing wrong with that.
Agreed. But what happens if somebody says, well, John Concac's making more than I am, and Joe Dumars or somebody like that, Isaiah, and they walk out of camp?
Well, then they sit down with Jack McCloskey, and I don't want to speak for Jack, but they sit down with Jack McCloskey, and McCloskey sits down at the table and says, well, let's see where we are.
And then where you are, you're going to be over the cap then.
No, you're not.
No, we can't sign a guy and be over the cap.
But I'm saying, I mean, if they complain, some of the players complain. Say Isaiah or Dumars walks in to you and said, this guy's making more than me, and look at his stats. Look at my stats. And I'm a winner and he's not. Or he hasn't won a championship.
Well, as Denny said, a lot of times
you don't anticipate any problems on this?
Well, there could, not now. Concac's gone. But Isaiah was the catalyst in trying to acquire Pontiac because he helped us recruit him.
What about
Took him to
Mark
his
Aguirre?
house.
Was Isaiah the catalyst in acquiring Mark Aguirre for Adrian Dantley?
Oh, no. No.
To move on, let us move on from there. Explain to us the process. You know, we have to tolerate him. Explain to us the process that's in place when a ball club goes after a free agent player in the NBA.
Well, there are two free agent situations. One is a restricted free agent, which Pontiac was, which gives Atlanta the right of first refusal on any deal that is made. The other, of course, is unrestricted free agency. And this was Pontiac's first contract. If it had been a second, he would have been unrestricted. We signed Scott Hastings, who was an unrestricted free agent, who was with the Miami team last year, Denny, and he's going to help us.
How much? He wound up getting $10 million over 6 years?
No, 13-2 over 6 years.
Who's that?
I mean, John
Pontiac?
Pontiac.
I don't know what he got.
They're reporting 13-2 for over 6 years. Overall, the team, though, now the team is just about where you want it to be. You've lost a couple players, and you've sort of indicated, or you indicated, it suggested that Fennis Dimbo take a job in Italy too.
I think it's important that Fennis get to play, and he got very little opportunity to play on our team last year. Although he's talented, he's a very talented player. But unfortunately, he's behind a guy like Aguirre and Rodman. He's behind the guards. Our three-guard rotation. It's very difficult for him to get playing time.
Just back up just one more minute on that Pontiac situation. There's some people believe out there, the people ask me, what did Atlanta do to Detroit? Do you have something against the Atlanta team? And did something happen where you're going to say, hey, we got to get back in Atlanta? There are a lot of people saying that.
Is that right?
Yeah. A lot of people are saying that. That you have that something we said you foiled Atlanta, although they did sign Dominic Wilkins after that. But did you have something against Atlanta while you did that?
I don't have anything against anybody.
He was trying to get a player.
No, well, at that price, you could have gotten him cheaper, couldn't you, John Pontiac?
No, we had to make it a figure that made Atlanta think. You know.
Well, that made him think, all right.
Well, that's exactly the position we wanted to be in.
Is Pontiac going to be a good player?
Oh yeah. Oh, he's. Denny, he played the last 20 or 30 games for them. He finally started them.
Can rebound, okay.
And really did an excellent job for them. It was the best they played.
Was he as physical as a Mahorn?
Oh, he's a different kind of player. You know,
More finesse?
Has much more skill than Rick Mahorn.
Pistons miss Mahorn? Are they going to miss him?
We would have missed anybody that we lost. We had 9 players that we counted on. We could only protect 8, and whomever we lost, you know, it's difficult to replace. We will miss that player, but we've got to replace him with somebody else.
What other considerations were going on at the time? What other players were under consideration not to be protected at the time besides Mahorn?
Well, we could have put James Edwards up. We could have put Jenny Johnson up. But there are 2 players that the coaches felt that, hey, these guys can score for us. We can't afford to give up guys that can score.
Because you did not have a great year scoring last year, did you, the offense? The offense was not, maybe not, the defense was second to none, and the intensity was just unbelievable. But the offense you were not exactly thrilled with last year, were you?
Well, our offense, I think, was consistent, you know, fairly consistent. We did the things that
you had to do.
We had to do, but the thing that the coaches did that I think is very impressive as far as I'm concerned is they used each guy to his best ability. Now, it was interesting, Scott Hastings, I said to him, he came out when he was in California, I said, Scott, I said, we got you. You're going to give us some minutes. I said, we may not win as many games we did last year, but we're going to be a better basketball team than the championship team of last year.
You say it's all going to be awful hard to repeat the 63 wins.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But we'll be a better basketball team. And he said something interesting. He said, you know, he says, I know you're going to be a better basketball team because
you got me.
Mark Aguirre, he says, really, you know, wasn't the Mark Aguirre that we know. Mark Aguirre came in and played in a background role. This is a guy who averaged 26, 27 points a year for 7 years in this league.
Not a game, not a year.
Yeah, excuse me.
I was going to say, and he's lost a little weight. He was a little chubby last year, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he was out of...
He looked like Denny last year, not quite.
Well, he
like
was
Denny or anything.
not in condition at all, and he's in great condition right now, and this is going to be a tremendous asset for us.
Are you going to put him in a different role this year than he was last year?
I think the coaches will use him offensively a great deal more because he can do so many things now. Actually, when he came in, he really played a very passive offensive role for us, and actually it turned out to be great because We went to the guards a great deal more, and they were superb.
Because down in Texas, he was a star.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he was the star on the ball club, and for a guy to have to change that role immediately and step in with a bunch of guys who are stars, Isaiah and Lambert, etc. I mean, the mental approach and the new mental approach to his position and getting involved in the game has got to be dramatic for him too.
He is really a skilled individual. He is probably more skilled than anybody, we have as far as a player goes, and I think that'll come out next year.
Did you ever think the NBA salaries would ever become what they are today?
Oh, it was, it wasn't too long ago, I would say 6-7 years ago, that there were a number of teams in this league that financially were having trouble and were really in a position where they were going to fold.
And David Stern did a nice job as commissioner.
Oh, tremendous
TV
job.
contract was
Tremendous job. And I think the Player Association and
It was
the
very
league
fair
got
for a
together.
change. That's hard to believe in sports today, the Players Association being fair.
Oh, and the cap came into existence at that time, and it's been a tremendous help.
Cap's been a big help then.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to come right back with Jack McCloskey right after this.
After my playing career at the University of Michigan had ended. Now I'm proud to be co-owner of the Sting, Detroit's most dynamic nightclub. We've got continuous live DJs, continuous videos, and live entertainment every weekend. But you don't have to disco. The Sting is also a great after-work place to meet other professional people who frequent our lounge. So stop in and see us at the Sting. We're in the old Playboy Club, the lodge at Greenfield, with plenty of lighted, secured parking.
A nice place to take the family for a great meal is Seabreeze Restaurant on Gratiot south of 14 Mile in Roseville. Seabreeze has a choice of over 200 entrees from steaks and chops, great barbecued ribs, London broil, and many seafood entrees like orange roughy and fish and chips. Seabreeze has many daily specials for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and is open 7 days from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Hi, this is Steve, owner of the Seabreeze Restaurant. You love our food and our
It's a nice place, Seabreeze Restaurant. Believe me, I eat there a lot. It's a great spot.
Plugs in, Denny. Huh? Really? That's the plug.
Who?
It's you.
Oh, yes, I do. Okay, Jack McCloskey, general manager of the Pistons, is here. We talk about the financial state. We talk about the salaries and all that stuff, but the NBA has never been on steadier ground or more financially sound ground as it is right now. David Stern, as we mentioned, has done a nice job as commissioner, but look at what these new teams are paying to get in. So that's a lot of money to get a franchise in this league.
Well, there's no question about that. And that, of course, is divided among the present teams, yes.
So there's a lot of reasons
There's
their
been
contracts are going through the roof.
Yeah, 4 teams, 4 new teams, of course, have come in the last 2 years. Minnesota will be coming in.
Minnesota and Orlando.
Yeah.
You got to remember the teams. There's so many of them.
What did those clubs pay to get into the league?
What was it? I can't remember the exact figure.
15, 20 million?
Oh,
God,
no, my Lord,
it's
no.
much,
A lot
much
more than that. It's a big thing we're talking about
I
now.
want to say I recall, was it 42 or?
And then the rest of the clubs divide
all that.
Yes.
those franchises.
Yes.
Some of it apparently goes to the league offices.
Oh, yes.
What has David Stern done for the NBA to turn this around? No club lost money last year, did they?
No.
I mean,
The thing that he has done, I think, he came in at there was turmoil at the time because of these teams that we had talked about previously being in financial difficulty. And what he did was bring the league and the Players Association together. And there was good leadership in Larry Fleischer.
Who just died recently.
Yes. Yeah. With the Players Association. And by creating the cap and allowing the players to have 53% of the gross revenue and basing it a great deal on income that the clubs have, and also creating a good television package with CBS. And incidentally, that package is up for renewal, and there's going to be I think all the networks are going to be after the NBA.
What was
and
the
game itself? He sold the game itself.
The game itself, I mean, you guys are doing a terrific job with the game.
There's one game maybe I like better than professional basketball.
Tell everybody. No, tell everybody.
That's Gaelic football.
I beg your pardon.
Gaelic football.
What the
heck is Gaelic
football? That is, have you ever seen Australian football?
Oh, God, I'm
sure.
up a wall.
Yeah. You don't
That's
like it?
Gaelic.
Oh my God! They show that stuff on ESPN. It's enough to make you vomit.
Woo!
That's Gaelic football?
Gaelic football.
Really? You
similar
like
Without
that?
the pads and the
Of course, I don't know what the
they
game's
just-
all about or anything like that.
They
That makes
chase
you
it in the
wonder.
mud and they chase each other and they
I'll tell you.
kick it past
I can't
it.
understand a
They
word
kick
that
it,
announcer's
they
saying.
pass it, and there's a lot of scoring in it. They kill each other. It's a physical, tough game, and it's constant. I mean, there's
Well, it's no different than the NBA.
yeah, no, we have too many timeouts.
How long would a game be if they called every foul?
It would be forever.
Yeah. So
I
you
mean,
got to use
they
common
would
sense.
play and play and play and play and play.
It's the no harm, no foul situation.
It's awfully hard to repeat in the NBA. The Lakers are the only team
Sure.
that has done it since the Celtics in the 60s. Is it going to be different this year? Well, I'm sure you're going to say that you're not going to think. You're going to think this is a better basketball team and the Pistons are going to repeat.
It's so difficult to repeat a championship because, first of all, there's pressure on the players, there's pressure on the coaches. The opposition is so much aware of you. There's a little
Sure.
incentive there. You're drafting way down low. That guy's not going to help you. The 27th.
Proved it.
pick on
You
that
said bye-bye to your guy.
team. Oh yeah.
You
yeah.
get, boom, out the door.
Now, of course, we will always have him. We have him. There's no question. And I'm glad the Greek team is going to develop him.
Is he going to be a player in this
first.
league, do you think?
I think he's got a chance. He's got a chance. As I said on draft day, he's not the strongest guy in the world, but he's got enough to be an NBA player. He's a shot blocker.
But you went
He
after
can
him as
run
far
well.
as that goes. You traded Michael Williams.
Oh, yeah,
Michael
because-
Williams slipped a little bit in his play last year?
No, because Mike is small, and he has no chance to play behind Vinny, Isaiah, and Joe. He has no chance to play. So we're going to get a player that will have more size than Michael had. He'll be a 6'4", 6'5", guard, and he'll help us more than Michael will. So we're going to lose him anyway. I was going to.
Does John Long get some time left, do you think? Is he a chance to make this team next year?
John's not going to be with us in training camp. We're trying to help him get established with some other team in the NBA.
Tell everybody what you really wanted to be in life.
I wanted to be Denny McLain's backup with the Tigers.
In what position?
He was a pitcher.
Not when he was behind the, you know what? They're not. You don't want to
No.
be the backup there, no, would you?
Now, who signed you?
Yeah.
I was signed by Connie Mack.
Connie
and the
Mack.
Always. Now that
Oh,
shows you.
Jack. Whoa, Jack, I didn't realize you were that old. Jack, you got to be close to 90.
Jack just turned 45.
Yeah. Connie Mack's been dead since 1928, hasn't he?
Just about.
How many years did you play minor league ball?
Played 3 years.
Mack's
Both, all 3 years in their organization.
Yes.
How many ball games did you win?
I didn't win too many. In fact, I had just come back from the service, hadn't played in a couple of years, hadn't really pitched in a couple of years, and went down to. I had a chance to stay with the A's, and they said, "Would you rather stay here and mop up some games, or you rather pitch?" And I said, "Oh, I want to pitch." So I
You
get
should have
down-
mopped up a little bit. Then you
Yes.
said you were in the big leagues, Jack.
Yeah, but let me give you the great comparison. Comcheck just signs for $13 million.
Concac. Comcheck, see, Concac.
$13 million. What did you make your first year in the minor league baseball?
$300.
For the year or for the month?
No, for a month.
For a month.
Per month, yeah.
$300 a month. I mean, when I signed, it was $500 a month.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? The teams this year in the NBA, who do you expect your biggest competition from? The Celtics dead.
Celtics will be tough this
I know
year.
they will. That's what
They'll
I'm
really be
thinking,
tough. I think they got hurt when Shaw went to York.
So did I.
Very surprising. But he'll be playing over there, and consequently, they're going to have to fill that spot. So they will be hurt a little
Johnson's
bit.
about had it at the one guard position, hasn't he? He's-
Yeah, it's a little tough for him right now to play consistently.
They got Larry Bird. You can never discount him with Larry
And
Bird, can you?
Bird is back, and he's back playing very, very well. So they still have that great front line, but it is getting a little long in the tooth. And as long as we have a Rodman and Solly that can run them and run them and run them, eventually we can break them down.
Yeah.
Jack, we really appreciate you coming
Hey,
on.
no, we got to
know how
close
busy
out.
you
No, we
are.
got another break here.
Well, he didn't say that.
Yeah, we got another break, but we got one more small
Oh,
segment.
great.
Small segment.
That junk's bad news.
Smart kid. He doesn't need that stuff. Nobody does. I'm McGruff, the crime dog. Now, watch these kids.
I'm bored. Let me get wasted.
Why don't you get real?
I've got a better idea. Why don't you get lost?
See that? It's happening everywhere. So, if anyone ever wants to turn you on, just turn them off. It's a great way to help take a bite out of crime.
Travel.
Fastball, fly ball, deep to left field. It is gone! A two-run homer. Tigers win!
Whitaker.
A high hopper up the middle. Whitaker back of the bag. Here's the throw. Got him! What a play by Lou Whitaker. One pitch out to George Brett. He got him on strike. Morris threw it right past George Brett. His 10th strikeout of the night.
Binary Computers is celebrating their 9th anniversary, and how they've become one of Detroit's top independent computer dealers is really simple. A great selection of brand-name computer products, outstanding service, and highly knowledgeable trained consultants who make things understandable in plain English. Binary now has facsimile machines and telephone systems, so stop in for special anniversary savings at Binary Computers, Metro Detroit's business computer center, Woodward at 12 Mile, Berkeley. Remember, if you haven't got a computer, you'd better get one before your competitor does.
What do these women have in common? They were all Girl Scouts. Girl Scouting showed them that they could do or be anything. An ambassador to the United Nations or an Olympic champion. Girl Scouting inspires girls to dream big and prepares them to meet the challenges of a demanding adult world. Your daughter should be a Girl Scout. She'll be in very good company, and she'll get the right start.
We're back closing it out with Pistons General Manager Jack McCloskey. We sort of asked the question in the meeting when we talked about the Celtics, but what team do you really fear in the division and to stop you from repeating next year?
Well, as you know, the Central Division is the toughest division in basketball.
No question about it.
One of the best, really, that's ever been in the league. I think Atlanta, Chicago, and Cleveland, in that order, are the toughest opponents.
Atlanta, Chicago, and Cleveland. Cleveland dipped a little. They're going to miss Larry Nance at the start of the year.
He's been injured, and I understand he'll be out until probably the 1st of January, the end of December.
And the draft choice going to help Chicago that much at the start of the year, you think?
No, I don't think so. Not at the beginning of the year. It's going to take a little time.
But towards
King is a good player. He's a very good player.
BJ's a pretty good player too, isn't he?
Oh, excellent player. I really like him.
BJ
And he's
too.
a great young man.
Yeah, he is. We had him on the TV show.
A few seconds left. I want to ask you a quick question. We had a call over WXYT recently.
Anything to get a plug in, Denny?
Well, okay. Guys, you promote every restaurant in town so far. At WXYT, we have somebody call on the air and said, listen, I want to tell you they're about to trade Bill Lambier, and hung up the phone.
Any more trades? Is the Lambier on the block or any trades?
No,
you anticipate a trade before the start of the season, Jack?
We could do something. There's, we always.
What do you look for most on this team with what you got right now? What are you looking at most to improve on this team?
Well, if we could, we'd like to have Karl Malone, something like that.
But I'm saying, what area are you looking to improve the most on this team as you try to repeat?
I think a young guard, a young, big 6'4", 6'5" guard that eventually will get into the rotation in a year or so.
Okay.
Now we can say goodbye.
Except I got to say the advertise. Thanks for coming.
Oh, okay. We're going to do this again.
This is what you call plugs, Denny. You
This
know
is
that.
plugs.
You know the radio and television business. Sports Fans Journal, the hottest magazine going. Call 24 hours a day to subscribe. 751-1818. The Sting, that hot nightclub on James Cousins at Greenfield. Seabreeze Restaurant, great family restaurant in Roseville on Gratiot South, the 14 Mile. Binary Computers for all your computer needs. Woodward at 12 Mile. And as I mentioned, Dietrich Oldsmobile on M59 in Waterford. That's been a lot of fun. Jack McCloskey, thanks, Denny. Welcome again to the show as a co-host.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, Jack. Bye-bye, everybody. We'll talk to you again.